One man, one mission, to rid the world of chronic anxiety once and for all. The Anxiety Guy, Dennis Simsek, shares his personal transformation from living a life filled with overwhelming worry to becoming a full-fledged positivity machine, a leading authority in generalized anxiety. Dennis gets to the truth of your mental health challenges and sets you on a path to transforming each and every area of your life. Here he is, the one and only, the Anxiety Guy.
Hi everyone, I'm Dennis Simsek and this is the Anxiety Guy podcast, episode number 33. I want to thank you for joining me again for another excellent episode on helping people with anxiety. Now head over to anxietyexit.com where you'll find our End the Anxiety program that will help you overcome your health anxiety starting today. As well, we've started the one-on-ones, the coaching sessions with myself as a NACBT life coach. I want to be there for you guys, so sign up for those. And all those sessions are done through Skype. Now, on episode number 33, we tackle a question. And that question is, Dennis, my anxiety is getting worse by the day. Can you help me? And I know the feeling. I know the journey and I know the feeling. I know what it's like to live with debilitating health anxiety and being in a place where nobody understands what you're going through and constantly looking for answers to your confused questions. And I want to be here for these people that are asking these questions to me through my email, and hopefully we can start to solve some of those problems today, guys. And today is about giving you the 5 unknown reasons your anxiety is getting worse. But I ran into a statistic today that bothered me big time. And that statistic is that it's estimated that only 1/3 of people with anxiety disorders receive some sort of treatment. Now, that treatment doesn't have to necessarily be drugs, any kind of treatment. You know, it could be the program. It could be some kind of success story somebody else went through and you're trying to follow in their footsteps. It could be life coaching. It could be therapy, whatever it may be. But only 1/3 of people with anxiety disorders look for a solution, and that's not good enough. And I'm glad that you guys are not in that boat, because you wouldn't be if you were not listening to this podcast. Now, today, let's go over the first 5. Hi everyone, my name is Dennis Simsek. Thanks for joining me on the Anxiety Guy podcast, episode number 33. Head over to anxietyexit.com where you will find the #1 online program for health anxiety sufferers under the program menu item. As well, our one-on-ones have started. If you would like Skype sessions with me on how to overcome your health anxiety or anything else related to some kind of challenge that's going on in your life, we have the one-on-one set at anxietyexit.com. Now, I like to answer a lot of the questions that people write in, and I try to get to all of them. And one really stuck out to me today, and that is that someone wrote in and said, Dennis, my anxiety is getting worse by the day. You know, I'm trying these things, I'm talking to people, I'm doing what I can, but it's getting worse by the day. And I want to tackle that by giving you guys the 5 unknown reasons your anxiety is getting worse. And I also ran into a very annoying statistic today. And that statistic is that it's estimated that only 1/3 of people with anxiety disorders actually receive some sort of treatment for their anxiety. And that doesn't have to necessarily be drugs or therapy. It could be the program. It could be some kind of mentorship. It could be some life coaching. It could be anything. But only 1/3 of people actually look and receive some kind of treatment. Guys, I'm glad that's not you because you're listening to this podcast. That's fantastic. But that is not acceptable. It really isn't. Because it's not acceptable because I've been in those shoes, guys, and I know what kind of potential I always had. It was always hidden there, right? It was always hidden beneath. And it wasn't until I finally started to do things differently, looking at my results. I was looking at my results in different aspects of my life, and I was going, why? why is this just not happening? I'm trying things and it's just not manifesting in my life. Now, one of the things I realized was that I needed to stop trying to get to the end. And what I mean by that is that I always had this vision of what I wanted my life to look like. I wanted to be free from anxiety. I wanted to have a peaceful mind. I wanted to be able to mingle with people. I wanted to be able to have leisure time and family time without worrying about my symptoms and such. But I realized that it's incredibly important for myself and you to start enjoying the journey, guys. The progress, the daily progress is what's actually going to make you happy. It's what's actually going to keep you fulfilled. So thinking about the idea of I'm not where I want to be, another frustrated day, when is it going to happen? All I want to do is be better. No. Guys, it's important that you understand that the progress should be fulfilling you with that joy, with that happiness that you're craving, okay? So understand that life isn't going to start once you reach a certain goal, okay? So a lot of people reach a goal and then they go, is this all there is, right? So it's important for you to understand that the journey you're on is what's going to make you happy. The idea of you putting yourself out there and practicing, the idea of getting out in nature and going for a walk and not just dwelling over your anxiety, that progress, that journey is what's going to make you happy and fulfilled. It's not that when I get to this point, then I'm going to be happy. It's about the journey, guys. So when I started to look at things a little differently, I started to overcome my symptoms. I started to stop putting so much pressure on myself. I started to live because you're afraid of dying. And thank you so much for the support on the last podcast episode on fear of death, guys. That was a powerful one. But we are so afraid of dying. And every second, to be honest, we're already dying. We're already dying. We're already wasting time, right? So don't waste another second, another minute dwelling over why your life is not the way it is. Start taking those steps towards changing it starting today. And let's get into the five unknown reasons your anxiety is getting worse, guys, so that we can start to tackle some of these right away. The first one is trying too hard to stop your thoughts. Now, give this a couple seconds to think about. Are you on this boat? Do you personally try to always stop your negative thoughts, your fearful thoughts, your panicky thoughts? Whatever it may be. Do you try to stop it? It's important to understand that thought suppression is a psychological phenomenon that states that when you try to avoid having a thought, you actually have the thought more often than if you never bother trying to have it at all. And actually, it's incredibly counterproductive to stopping your anxiety. So another way we can look at this, guys, is if we have a thought, what kind of respect am I going to give that thought? Am I going to try to do everything I can to stop that thought because in the past I've had these experiences starting with that thought that have led me to some kind of a debilitating situation? Or can I go about my day with that thought lingering in the background? It's important for you to understand that a thought is simply just a thought. It's not your reality. It's not your future experiences. A thought is simply just a thought, okay? And your beliefs around that thought right now are causing you to experience more anxiety. So it's important that we start to approach those thoughts a little bit differently, guys. So understand if you're on this boat and you're trying to stop your thoughts constantly, how it's having a negative effect towards your anxiety and trying to stop your anxiety. So that's the first thing that is causing your anxiety to get worse. And as we go on, we're going to get on to the fifth one eventually. And the fifth one is by far the most powerful. So let's keep moving on. Number 2 is purposefully avoiding what you fear. Now, I'm going to give you an example in my own life, and I'm guessing you've done this before. People. I go and I meet someone. All of a sudden, I get some kind of a criticism from that person, okay? And that could be, you're not doing your job well enough. You're not reaching enough people. You're not whatever. All of a sudden, that person starts to trigger thoughts in my head. Those thoughts lead to some kind of panicky feeling or some kind of symptom. I start to get, more interested in that symptom, whatever it may be. And next thing you know, I start to generalize the idea that everybody in this world is out to get me. Now remember, our minds do three different things when it's forced into a situation or an event. Our minds either generalize, our minds distort or change the situation in some way, depending on our beliefs and values, or our minds delete. Okay? So when it comes to people, what I used to do is I used to generalize. And what started to happen was I started to avoid people. That led to me being stuck in my home for 31 days. I had agoraphobia for 31 days. Imagine not going outside for 31 days. I've been there. And I've been through it. And I want to tell you guys that I've been through hell and back. And now you're listening to a podcast that I made that in what world would I ever think I would ever be touching this many people around the world? Thousands of people, and if I can do it, you can do it. So our minds do three things. They generalize, distort, delete. I generalized people. I stayed away from people. I ran from people. And I started to become disgusted with myself because I just couldn't mingle. So avoiding what you fear is causing you to experience heightened levels of anxiety. Be aware of it, guys. Number 3 is inactivity. The greatest reason to exercise is because science has shown that a lack of exercise can cause anxiety, and exercise can actually cure your anxiety. So the idea of exercising, if you've already started the 21-day mental clarity challenge on YouTube, guys, well done. I praise you for that. I praise you for making a decision to start that on YouTube. If you haven't already, head over there and subscribe and start the challenge, because there's a couple of exercise-related challenges there. Now, inactivity, stuck in front of a computer, constantly being on your phone, watching TV, listening to crappy music that's just programming your unconscious mind and programming new beliefs in your system, new fearful beliefs. All these things can contribute to your inactivity. All it takes is 20 to 30 minutes a day of being out in nature, going for a walk by yourself. Put your headphones on, whatever you need to do, but get out, get moving. Let's not make things more complicated than what they are. The more complicated we make things, the more debilitating our anxiety gets. And to be honest with you guys, life can be so simple. It can just be simple. Ask yourself this question. Are you happy right now? Are you? Are you happy right now listening to this podcast? And if you're not, what are you doing to start to change that? Are you continuing with the habits, the routines, the rituals that you constantly do on a daily basis that's fueling your anxiety? Or are you going to make a decision to start to reverse the trend? Right? It's all in your hands. Don't start blaming people. Don't start acting the victim. It's in your hands. And I'm here to tell you that it's the BS that you feed yourself on a daily basis is causing your anxiety to be worse and worse, okay? And we're going to get into that, which is number 5, really soon. So get active, get moving. Don't make it so complicated. Just get out and start moving. Start exercising, guys, and stop making excuses for not doing it. Number 4, debilitating coping behaviors. Now, this could be drugs, drinking, your eating habits, gambling. It could be anything. Becoming dependent on that thing to bring you some type of temporary joy is feeding your anxiety, is making your anxiety worse. So just the idea of noticing, just stopping, just stop and just notice and just become aware for a second. what is it that I'm doing? Am I eating these foods right now that's giving me a temporary boost, mentally, and it's making me feel good for the time being? Am I trying to mask my anxiety by gambling or drinking or whatever it may be, just to mask it, and I'm just too scared to take it on head on? I truly want to praise the people out there that are jumping into the things that they fear, and taking a leap of faith and going, what I'm doing right now is not working, so it's time. I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I'm tired of living a life of just getting by. Every moment I live, I'm dying anyway. So what's the point of living this way? Why do I keep doing the things that are just causing me more anxiety? So check it out. What kind of debilitating coping behaviors are you doing on a daily basis that's masking your anxiety, your symptoms, your fears? Number 5, and the most important one, looking for reassurance constantly. And I don't want to apologize to people today. I don't want to say I've been too hard on you. I don't want to say those things, because if you don't break the patterns in your life that are contributing to your anxiety, you're always going to have anxiety. You're going to be 90 years old, 80 years old, whatever, and lying in your bed and going, if I would have only listened to Dennis on the Anxiety Guy podcast and took some of his advice and started to not only listen, but start to do these things, right? I would have lived a much more fulfilling life. And I don't want you guys to regret the things that you could have done differently in your lives if you would have only just taken the chance. Now, don't tell yourself that you're not too anxious. Don't compare yourself to somebody else that's got anxiety and go, you know what? My anxiety isn't that bad compared to that person. If you're overweight, I'm not that overweight compared to this person. Who are you really, mirroring? Who are you really connecting with on a daily basis? And who are you comparing yourself to is important. If you're comparing yourself to someone who's gone through anxiety like myself, someone who's now solving thousands of people's problems worldwide, and such, and if you're comparing yourself to myself, you're going to find that you start to overcome your anxiety a lot quicker. Whereas if you start to go on forums and if you start to compare yourself to those people, it's just not going to work. It's not going to work. Tell yourself the truth. You're too fat. You're too anxious. You're too fearful. You're too this. You're too that. By telling yourself the truth, temporarily, it's not going to feel right, but eventually you're going to overcome your anxiety. You're going to start to find solutions and answers to your problems. There's too much BS. Stop spending so much time and energy going through this debilitating thing that you're constantly doing. Stop coping and start looking at what you're doing that's causing your anxiety. And this should motivate you. It really should motivate you. Telling yourself the truth. Life isn't okay. At this moment in your life, life is not okay. You need to get more out of life, okay? And when you wake up in the morning, what kind of mood are you in? Are you looking towards this beautiful day? Are you partaking in the things you really want to do? What kind of career are you doing? Are you working on some of your deep down inner loves, your artistic loves, whether it's painting, photography, whatever it may be? Are you helping somebody else through a skill that you have? What are you doing? What are you doing that's contributing to your anxiety? So, guys, that's the 5 right there. 5 reasons your anxiety is getting worse. And I hope I've answered a couple of those questions that you guys might have. And on the Facebook page today, I put out a powerful message. And that message was, don't take anything personally. Nothing others do or say is because of you. What others say and do is a projection of their own reality, their own dream. When you are immune to the opinions and actions of others, you won't be the victim of needless suffering. So much of our values and beliefs come from other people's values and beliefs. Don't let that be you. Episode number 33 coming to a close, guys. I'll see you guys in episode number 34. Head over to anxietyexit.com, the number one program on the internet right now for your health anxiety. If you have any questions, shoot me a comment from there. I'll see you guys really soon. Have a wonderful day, and remember that you're more than anxiety. See you guys.